After spending almost the entire 1980s in development hell, the sequel to the 1974 hit Chinatown by Roman Polanski finally sees the light after a painstakingly process of production and direction choices, with Jack Nicholson starring and sitting behind the camera. The Two Jakes is a neo-noir movie set in 1948, just over 10 years from the Oscar-winning predecessor, with Nicholson as the private eye in a corrupted Los Angeles, stuck between the political establishment of shady local individuals and the ambition to control land rights and resources. The movie opens with Nicholson reprising the role of Jake Gittes, a private detective with a certain fame. Having survived the tragic outcome of the story a decade earlier, is now a successful self-made man taking high cases of mysteries in the hills of Hollywoodland. Despite the huge impact of Chinatown, winning major accolades and prizes, The Two Jakes didn't develop the hope of success with its solid cast. However, the story is well crafted with closet skeletons, dirty past, and a compelling noir setting in the City of Angels during its post-World War II housing expansion. Harvey Keitel is Jake Julius Berman, playing the role of a successful entrepreneur in the construction business north of LA, opening the movie with a powerful scene and the murder of his business partner Mark Bodine by his own hands during a love affair in a motel with his wife Kitty Berman, played by Meg Tilly. The centerpiece of the film is an audio tape recorded by Jake Gittes and his assistant during the motel meeting, trying to bust the alleged affair between Kitty and Bodine. Berman kills his partner in the act of the affair, throwing multiple shots while Gittes is listening next door. Unaware of the gun Berman used for the killing, Gittes is unable to stop him from finishing his partner in a bloodbath in gangster style. The story opens multiple mysteries centered around Berman's motivation to kill his partner. Gittes, being the old fox he is, manages to read through the line of the murder and is also facing legal actions from Leland Bodine, the widow, who also hired Gittes in order to find the truth. The private detective, unaware the victim who was the partner, starts to believe it was a setup, an orchestrated murder to fully control the business and $6 million of assets. Everything becomes entangled in a fruit salad of conspiracy, fraud, murder, and betrayal, where Gittes has to follow different leads between places of Los Angeles, brings him memories of the past, where an old wound has never healed and never intended to do so. Berman's figure is a layered character that, throughout the movie, has shown its true intention as well as his weaknesses as a person, trying to maintain his construction business afloat despite an investment in land property threatened by a tainted soil in the hills of north of LA. It is at this patch of land owned by Berman that partially ties the story of 10 years earlier. Gittes wants to find out how his clients obtained the deed. The Two Jakes sets itself as a sequel of a film many critics consider unworthy of its predecessor, due to production problems and the story only being written partially until the very end. Nicholson struggled to appease the writing material to develop scenes, and the shooting schedule kept getting delayed. The final portion of the movie was written in a rush, having one of the main writer faxing pages during his holidays in Bora Bora, upsetting the cast crew who were unable to coordinate their works. Eventually, the missing portion of the pre-production was finally assembled and shooting started in 1990 between Los Angeles and Ventura, including several other locations that reprise moments from Chinatown. Gittes' iconic Art Deco office is located on Soto Street in Vernon City, while other settings are shown in Simi Valley, downtown LA, Ventura, and surrounding areas. Originally, the story of Jake Gittes was conceived as a trilogy, focusing on the elements motivating the characters to move the plot. Water, the first installment with Chinatown, Oil and Energy for the Two Jakes, and the unproduced third one, which was supposed to spin around Air and Gittes' divorce from his wife with all the consequences. The movie was welcomed with mild reviews due to the high expectations set by Chinatown and the high-quality directing of Roman Polanski, with a marvelous story written by screenwriter Robert Downey, engaged to continue with Nicholson on the second chapter, and eventually the unmade third one. With a production budget of $25 million, the box office eventually returned less than half of what it was invested, with only $10 million in profit. The Two Jakes differs from its predecessors Chinatown for the directing tone, having Nicholson behind the camera as a last-minute resolution due to production problems. It was Nicholson's second movie as the director and its last. The disappointment of production companies, executives and managers left no option but for Jack to finish the project despite all the challenges he faced with limited directing experience. The noir settings of the movie faced some backlash at the box office despite claiming to follow up from the original story over the first movie. However, The Two Jakes slips in some mellow tone moments that drifts away from the crime and the dark atmosphere of Chinatown. Certain scenes don't seem to fit the hardball theme of the genre. The choice of light tones and lack of shades remove the noir experience of the detective theme. After Chinatown, a sequel wasn't expected, as the movie closes itself in a perfect shape, wrapping up the events in a perfect noir fashion. The Two Jakes suffer from poor distribution due to its original effects of the box office when opening in the 1990s. We all know how production companies are keen on money making and saving, so they kept the movie away from the spotlight in fear of its legacy and bad publicity. It's been only recently that The Two Jakes surfaced across digital streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, to the delight of movie fans. Overall, the movie is a worthy sequel, even if it lacks the crude scenes and dialogues of the first one, perhaps hoping that by toning down language and violence, it would have appeal to a broader audience for a foreseeable tape release and a TV cut. Despite that, Two Jakes received an R rating in the US, limited screening, and box office income.
Suck it. Pissed your pants, Junior. Maybe you need a change.